So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where Aston Villa eked out, I think is the word you would use there, a 2-1 win against Leicester at home in an ultimately incredibly, the first half of that game was just one of the worst first halves you're ever going to see. Just a bad game of football in the first half. Second half didn't start off much better, but Ross Barkley pings one into the back of the net, and then the temperature of the game started to go up. Some extremely poor link-up play from Watkins leads to Leicester's equaliser as they come down our right-hand side, our left-hand side, their right-hand side, cross the ball in. And Martinez does well to get a save on it, albeit Konza was really flat-footed and allowed Jamie Vardy to get across him. He won't be the last defender to do that this year, though. And then the ball lands to Mavididi, and he puts it through Cash's legs and then goes through Emi Martinez's legs. That's not a criticism of either of the two of them. That's just highlighting the element of fortune, I suppose, in that finish, in the finish. But we're at 1-1 there, and literally don't know what to say from that point of view. Their first shot on target was the save from Jamie Vardy. Their second shot on target then goes in. Just the curse of Aston Villa happened. Almost happened once more. And that was in the 63rd minute. Aston Villa then make a few changes. Oh, by the way, you guys are all welcome for Aston Villa's 2 goals, because I started slagging the pace of the game just about 30 seconds before Ross Barkley pings one into the bottom corner. And then I slagged Bailey, and I said it was flabbergasted that he stayed on the field. And then he gets one in at the front post. Villa go 2-1 up, and he hits the crossbar afterwards. Ollie Watkins again skies one over the bar from 10 yards out, which was just really poor from him as well. And ultimately Villa go on to win it 2-1, and I'm just going to draw a line under this game as I don't really give a shit. We've got 3 points. That's going to be my the tagline for me for this one. Paddy's here. I'm sure he might have a different opinion on it, but was not a good game of football to watch, Paddy. Certainly was one of the slowest games of football I've seen played in quite a long time. Club football that we've played in quite a long period of time. It was very boring at parts.
Yes, it was. And before I start, the most important thing is we're sitting here with 3 points in the bag, and nothing else matters. There's a lot of negatives, an awful lot of negatives. But before I start, I'm making sure everyone in the comments knows that I am happy that we've got 3 points on the board, because arguably we could be looking at a completely different situation here this evening. But I feel sorry for those who are in the stadium in the bitter cold Birmingham air, having to witness that one, because it was a tough watch. It was a tough watch on my nice warm sofa. So I can only imagine what it was like for those who were frantically moving their feet in the whole day to keep their legs warm. So hats off to you guys who are in the stadium for that. And that's probably where the positives finish. It was a tough watch for many reasons. Mainly in that there was a number of players that just weren't firing at all. As you correctly said, you called out Bailey. I think I did on Twitter as well. And then he scores a goal. Yeah, let's face it, if he misses that, we're putting him in the same category as Ollie Watkins. You shouldn't be missing that anyway. But it spurred him into action. He rattled one off the bar. He then proceeded to try and take someone on in the 95th minute when we should be turning the ball back towards our defence and keeping the ball. So, probably came a bit too late in the game for him. But yeah, look, we've got to preface every bit of negativity that we say by the fact that Leicester were well drilled, well organised, and absolutely had. I heard many times that man mentioned the Christmas tree in the commentary. It was parking the bus. There was no Christmas tree. There was no present for anybody under that tree. It was parking the bus. That's all it was. So there you go. There's not a whole pile to say about the first half, other than he didn't give a penalty where he gave a free kick for absolutely every challenge that was exactly the same as that throughout the game, and then forgot his yellow cards until the 95th minute. So anyway, I'm not gonna go in on him because everybody knows what I think of him. And then but
he was. I look. I suppose there was a lot more to talk about than ref talk. Even though the fact he was just annoying today. He was more annoying than anything else. Don't again he did really influence the game, but just an annoying performance from him. But you mentioned one thing there that that Leicester were really well drilled. I thought Leicester were really good. They just closed all the space. They sucked the space out of Villa Park. They made it a situation whereby the game was played in a 30-yard square. A 30-yard square by whatever the width of Villa Park is square, and that was tough. That's going to be tough for a lot of teams, specifically teams that have no pace. That's what they looked at. They said, this team doesn't have pace. That's why they put Luke Thomas out on the left on Bailey, because he can run all day long, Luke Thomas as well. And we got no joy on the right-hand side from either McGinn McGinn going off injured is a huge negative, I think. But Jacob Ramsey got no joy out there on that left-hand side either against James Justin. And thank God Morgan Rogers will be back for the next Premier League game, because I highlighted it as well. The carrying ability without Morgan Rogers just isn't there. Now, there was some decent bits of passing, but the movement was just so static. When you play, like when Barkley, Tielemans and Kamara were all played in the centre, none of them were moving because they're all pivot passers. They're all triangle passer players, and there was no movement there. And I think that's probably that's the only kind of drawback I see from Tielemans coming in from where Luis was last year. Luis would make that forward run. He'd pass that ball off. He'd make that forward run, and he'd try and get into spots there to unlock midfields. But we just didn't have anybody to do it today until Buendia came on, who I thought was pretty good. He had a couple of shots anyway, and I just thought he ran his knackers off.
Yeah, he did a good body of work. I'm not sure where he fits into this system, but you know what you're going to get. You're going to get honesty and integrity out of him, and hard work. He did his absolute best to try to play himself into contention. I honestly don't know where we're going to play him in our system, but in fairness to him, he's given himself every opportunity to be picked. So some might say he might come in and play that Bailey role. I don't know. He might play the Rodgers role. I don't know. I just can't see for the life of me where he fits in. But he's never let us down. He's always been a 100% player, and look, he's it's a pleasure to watch a player given 100% and do his best not to make mistakes and to make things happen too.
Yeah, I think so. Another shout out for Ian Maatson as well. Look, Dina didn't play particularly poorly, but it was getting at that left-hand side at James Justin. Maatson comes on, his acceleration does that, gets to the byline.
Yeah, it's just a different type of impetus on the ball, and it's a ball carrying as opposed to the type of fullback that Dina is. He's going to get into the space to get the ball, to get the cross in, as opposed to working into that space, which Maatson does, which is really, really nice. I was happy for him. I feel he deserves a run in the team. That's no slight on Luca Dean. He's just been incredibly unlucky that Luca Dean has been so good. So he's a great option to have to come in there
with the opening at left at that left-sided winger position. Essentially, now McGinn's going to be injured. Ramsey didn't really put his feet under the table today either when he was on. He didn't do anything particularly poorly, but he was just another person that was stagnant in midfield again today. I see no harm in putting Maatson out there at left wing, putting Rodgers in back in central again, and seeing if that pace can unlock things. But look, whether Unai does it or not is another question. But like, we could be getting to the point
he seems to have no problem playing Ezri. He's no problem playing Ezri Konsa out of position. So why not playing Maatson out of position? If he can give us something different in that role, where he's going to take players on and beat them to the extent that we've seen today, that it just didn't work for and obviously we're going to have Morgan Rogers back, so it's not really an argument, but it didn't work at all for JJ. Bailey didn't take someone on at any pace until the 94th minute. So that's been missing for our game from a very, very long time. We're obviously seeing Morgan Rogers do it, but a lot more centrally and not at that kind of pace where we need to exploit those spaces that are wingers, let's call them, just aren't doing. So I'd be totally open to Maatsen playing in that position. I think him and Digne would really complement each other, because Maatsen will get the ball to the byline if he needs to come back. He'll know Digne will be in that quarterback position in order to play, a brilliant ball into the box, which he did on many times. And we looked more effective when he started to play those balls, the diagonal crosses, and the goal. Barkley's goal came from one of those direct crosses. It just puts the cat amongst the pigeons and makes them have to make a decision. And we just didn't do that in the first half. So I was delighted for Ross Barkley, I have to say. He really looks a model professional. He doesn't get annoyed or argumentative. He just keeps his head down, gets his work done every time he's asked to come in there. So I was very happy to see him get the goal today and take the plaudits from the whole end.
Yeah, I thought Matty Cash played okay today. I know a lot of people won't, or may not think that. I thought he was solid. I actually thought the back four was solid in their own way. Yes, we conceded, but the concession of that goal comes from a position where we were transitioning to attack. Ollie Watkins leaves it at least 8 yards short of where he wanted to leave that layoff, and that just causes its own consternation in that one. But I thought Cash, I thought Digne, I thought Konza, I thought Mings, thought they were kind of assured enough, but they should have been, because Vardy, I'd say Vardy had 10 touches in the whole game today. That's all he had. So they should have been assured, and I thought that they were. And the reason I bring that up is the JP asks, does anybody know anything about this Wesley right back to Villa bid 15 million for Wesley Franco from Flamengo? I have been watching. I watched a ton of him yesterday. I was a bit poorly. I had a mate home from Canada, and we went to celebrate his coming home, even if he was only home for 5 days, I think it is. Yeah, I think he's away again the 9th of January. So we decided we had to celebrate it, and I overindulged, and I was a small bit hungover yesterday, and I was watching a lot of tape of him. So I'll have some stuff out in him. The reason I haven't put anything out in him at the moment is I have been trying to get a guy I know that supports Flamengo and is and does have a Brazilian footballing podcast as well, to try and come on. If I can't get him on today or tomorrow, I'll just put one out myself tomorrow. So yes is the answer. Yes. Paul Miller, thank you so much for that. Oh, thanks a million. He gave us £20 and 25 pence. So winning start to 2025. Thanks for the content, lads. Now, thank you so much for that as well. Flange says, smash the likes. 451 in here, but only 50 plus likes. Yeah, go on. We never do the whole likes thing. But thanks, Flange, for asking everybody to do that. That would be nice. And as Nestor says here, the best worst display this season so far. Look, if we perform that poorly all year and win every game 2-1, the history books will never remember how poorly we played. That's all. Well,
we will.
We will. Yeah, we will for a while anyway. For sure.
Look, it's important to celebrate the 3 points, because they were badly needed. Just to solidify us in with that group of teams in around those European places. So, absolutely delighted to get 3 points on the board, above all else, above all the negativity, above all the poor performances, above the shit first half. 3 points is everything.
Absolutely. I am unexpectedly going to have to drop off here. Nothing major or anything, so don't worry. There's no one going to die. But I'm going to unexpectedly have to drop off the post-match podcast here. Paddy, I don't know, do you want to stay on for a bit? Maybe read out a couple of comments, but I'm just going to leave it on Aston Villa. Look, they got the 3 points today. 2025 is off to a good start. We've West Ham coming in the cup on Friday, and can't even remember who we have after that then next in the league. But build on these performances, kind of weather out the storm, get Duran, get Rodgers back, maybe get Donald Mallon, and maybe get another defensive player in, and just build on this from here. Someone put in there as well, there's 11. Villa could theoretically get 11 to 14 points in the games that they have between now and the end of March, and that would see us into Europe. I don't even know who we play between now and March, so I'm not going to say that that's a fact. But we're on a decent amount of points now. I think we're on 32 points. Now, if you're looking at, I'd say probably 50 to 55 points gets you into Europe. So, and I take 6th or 7th. Anyway, we can get European football next year. I think we'll keep the project on the road. I don't know why I'm waffling, Paddy. I got to run. I'm so sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
We'll see you again later. But yeah, we'll chat to you later on, guys.
I'll keep it going for a few minutes, guys. If there's anything you want me to talk about, throw them in the comments there. Paul is asking, are you lads over next week? I am, Paul. I am in the UK all next week, starting tomorrow. I start a new job on Monday, and I'm training in the UK, which was good timing for me to head down to Villa Park for the 150th anniversary. So if I bump into you next Friday night in Villa Park, please do come say hello. What's everybody saying? Tell me what it was like in Villa Park. It seemed very quiet. And if you were there today, let us know. Let us know what it was like today. Bladen Nater wants to know, do I prefer curtains or blinds? I prefer both, because you can pull both of them and keep the heat out. Chip says Louis Barry deserves a chance. Still hanging on to that little bit of an injury, so let's see what happens in the next few weeks, if he can play himself into contention for that. What's that? Tom saying we need the whole squad, for fuck's sake. Don't we need the whole squad? We do need the whole squad. We need more players. We absolutely need more players. What else have we got here? Ramsey looks rusty. Hopefully more games should see him back up to speed. I think that's what everybody is thinking. Like we've allowed certain players try and play themselves back into contention and back into form. They got longer than Jacob Ramsey has got, so I'm going to reserve judgment on that just yet, but he definitely doesn't look like the Jacob Ramsey of old. Chris Goldsmith said Cash is underrated. Totally agree. The problem with Cash is picks up too many injuries, and as a result, we end up not being able to replace him and have to play Ezri Konsa out of position. Richard Knowles said Leicester fans seem very loud today. That's what I took out of it. Every chant I heard, I was listening to hear what it was, and it was quite obviously a Leicester one. Gaz Oak said the crowd started to get tetchy. It seemed that way very early in the game. Gaz also says Barry won't play for us ever. That's your opinion. We will find out soon enough. I presume that he's nervous as fuck, but I'm happy we didn't lose or draw today. Bailey is back. I'm not sure he's back now, but if that spurs him on, I'll be quite happy to welcome him back next week. And that's the most pleasing part. The most pleasing part, and I said it in the team sheet tantrum, that I wanted him to score today to get himself back on track. I wish he'd have done it a bit bloody earlier. But anyway, nothing we can do about that. Junior says Ollie doing what Ollie does. Very disappointed with Ollie today. Obviously the pass been left short, and then absolutely ballooning the one that went over the bar when all he needed was a little bit of composure. It was a bit annoying. Chris Cal says, turning to you, Paddy, with the refs. Fair enough. Look, I'm trying to lay off him. At this stage, they're all as bad as each other, and we know exactly what we're going to get. I thought he was particularly poor today. There was a number of times where he could have stopped that persistent fouling with yellow cards, and I thought he'd actually left them at home. And then he produces one in the 95th minute for the foul on Buendia, which is head-scratching. Noel Connaughton, my old mate, says, we are staying up. We are staying up. Yes, we are, Owen. No, nobody's catching us at this stage. We're staying up. I'm sure of that now. I'm joking, obviously. Stephen Brown says, would you take a winning FA Cup run? I think that's a silly question, Stephen. I think I'd take a winning FA Cup run over everything but Champions League qualification, because I think that's the only thing that keeps us on a competitive financial level with the rest of the big boys up there. But winning an FA Cup gets us into the Europa League and means we don't have to worry about the league. But the league will be over at that stage, so I'd much prefer to have that done and dusted in advance. So if you offered me finishing 6th, if we can't finish 5th and get that, depending on what the coefficient brings us, I'd take it. But I think we need Champions League football for sure. Greg O'Connor says Buendia missed a few chances, but was lively. One in particular I thought he could have done better with, but you know, you're coming off the bench. He was on his left foot. What else have we got? Richard Edwards says, is Barry good enough for the Premier League and Champions League though? I don't know, Richard. I honestly don't know. Nobody does. We've only seen him at lower level, but we've seen him score absolutely worldies at lower league level. He looks like an accomplished footballer, but it's going to take time. Have we got time? No. Can we put him in there and give him a few games between now and the end of the season? Absolutely. If putting it in there and giving him a few games between now and the end of the season means we sell him for 12, 14, 20 million, who knows? Well, then it might be a worthwhile exercise hanging on to him. Dan G says, just out of Villa Park, Jesus, how do we win that? Well, fuck, we'll take it. Cheers, lads. I think that's everybody's summing up of today. That we did get it. We did get the what would you call it? Look, I think we deserved the win. It was a poor performance, but I do think we did deserve to get the 3 points today. Alex is looking for a ref watch. Alex, it's just I'm mind blown with the penalty. Well, I know one person on Twitter didn't agree with me that it was a penalty, but you make contact with a person who's going away from you. The obvious contact, the knee hits the knee, it's a penalty by any stretch of the imagination. If that's Erling Haaland, the referee is surrounded and it's a fucking penalty. Simple as that. So I don't know why that's not a penalty when it's Boubacar Kamara. We never mentioned Boubacar Kamara, actually. How good was he today? He was absolutely immense. A lot of people talking about Malin. I'm not completely sold on Malin just yet. I think I'll take a bit of convincing on that one, but we'll wait and see what the king decides to do. Mark really wonders what's wrong with Ollie. I can't put my finger on it either, Mark. It's just really, really strange. Let me see what else have we got here. Duncan says Duran is better than Watkins. He is at the moment. He's better at finishing than Watkins at the moment. Ranger quite rightly put in the back of the box and says we're only 4 points off Champions League qualification. Absolutely. But the way things are going, the way PGMOL have decided we're not getting penalties and we're not getting any luck, and they're looking at increasing the ban for John Duran, even though they let Pep Guardiola kick a water bottle off somebody without getting a suspension. Who fucking knows anymore? Who knows? Cat Cannon says, dodge a bullet with our defending today. Again, I don't know whether we dodge a bullet. We did give away a sloppy goal, but I think other than that, we were fairly solid. Tom says 4 points behind Chelsea. I didn't catch the end of it. Chelsea were 1-1 last time I looked. Try not to look at my phone because I'm a little bit behind when I am looking. Duncan says Buendia is good, need more minutes potentially. Duncan saying Barry could play in the FA Cup, but that rules him out going anywhere else if he does play, as far as I know. Tom wants to know how did Chukwuemeka get on today. Did he play? I doubt it. Terence bringing up Ollie's missed chance again. Yeah, that was a chance to put it to bed. Engine 9 says it scared me when Mings looked injured at the start of the game. He turned around holding his sack. Yeah, it looked like he had picked up a groin injury, and I was a little bit worried about it, to be honest. But he got through it. Anything else there? Paul O'Neill, thank you very much. Happy New Year, lads. Badly needed win. Good film. Matson, Mings, Cash and Ross. Where does that leave Onana? I still think he has a huge part to play. I just think it's horses for courses. We needed footballers in there, and I think Ross did really, really well today. I also have this thing about Onana. I'd prefer to see him starting games. I think he's looked very rusty every time he's come into a game. Richard said if that's any of the big six, that's a penalty. I agree. Duncan saying Malin is quality. MD says Emery must know something about Malin. Again, it's just speculation. We'll wait and see. AB says Malin at 18 million, sure. Malin at 30 million, no thanks. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think if we pick up a player like that for 15, 18 million, I'd be very, very happy. Tom says can't blame the defence. That's on Watkins. The goal is definitely on Watkins. I think he'll be the one that'll have the fingers pointed at him in the dressing room for sure. Watkins for their goal, terrible back pass. So he says it finished 2-1 or 1-1. I presume that's the Chelsea one. That's a good one. Crystal Palace does a favour there. As Michael Huggins correctly puts me back in my box, season is a marathon, not a sprint. We're halfway through that marathon. We're 13 miles in. We're over 13 miles in because we played an extra game now. We've played Leicester twice. It's going to be a tough old slog if we don't bring in some bodies. We've seen today what happens when players go down. You know, losing Ming so early or McGinn so early in the game is bitterly disappointing, and I really hope it's not anything too bad that'll keep him out in the long to medium term. Dennis White says, great result to kick off 2025. Got to push on now, 100%, absolutely. As Duncan Kilburn says, Malin is similar to the Abbey, badly missed this season. A few people mentioned Dibbling in there. Probably get him for a bit more than what Malin is going for. Chris says, can Bailey kick on now? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Like, just can't see him beating players. If he does beat someone, he's turning back in and beating them again. I don't know what's going on with his game. Yeah. Tom says we've been sloppy all season. We have been sloppy. We've been sloppy in defence and sloppy in attack. Look, I think we're going to leave it for there. I'm waffling a little bit. Thanks everybody for staying on. All 800 of you that are in there. Do give us a like if you're that way inclined before you leave, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Thanks very much for everybody for all the kind wishes. Happy New Year to everybody. Glad to have kept you company for the last half an hour. Take the 3 points. Be thankful that it hasn't ruined our week, and onwards to our 150th celebration on Friday, and I will be there, so hopefully I'll bump into some of you there. Come and say hello if you do. Look after yourselves. Looking forward to getting back to normal after the Christmas. Now 6 days till we play again, so it'll be a nice break, and we'll be back with obviously your preview and getting ready in the lead up to that 150th celebrations. So have a good one. Take care. Mind yourselves, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.